Bring US 30 price action on Friday, October 20th. Again, this will be New York session. Two shorts I took. Right now I have it fast forwarded to, rewinded to 7 a.m., which is an hour before New York open. So let me mark this. Okay, perfect. So start off here on the higher time frames. We'll even go to like the 4. Okay, so market sold off, went bearish for quite a long time. It kind of found this bottom over here, leaving equals, went long, took out these highs, pulled back, and then continued going long. Took out this structural point here to the left, I guess you could say, right? High to low, and then sold off. Took it out, and then we kind of went bearish for a bit, trapped buyers here, and then look how sellers got induced here, and they failed to understand that this is now liquidity. This will get taken out. They get taken out, and now we're going bearish. So I do see price coming down all the way back down to the lows here. All right. If we're going the hour for a more intraday target, we have this inducement low left. Okay. You can mark this on here. Now you can see how price is kind of squeezing. So usually when we get this kind of price action like this, we can get like a move down sharp, and then that'll be a false move. So then we'll have traps going up, and then maybe take out the liquidity here, and then maybe we continue off. So it's usually one thing that tends to happen quite a bit. But hopping now onto the 15-minute, get an idea of more intraday price action. We honestly even go to the 5. Okay, so Asia printed this low, printed a high, and then sold off early London, taking out liquidity here. And now what does that tell me? Ever since we took this low, sellers are induced. So now price runs all the way back up to the highs and traps those sellers. Okay, perfect. That's what we want to see. This could have been a possible sell opportunity. Let's take a look. I don't believe there was anything. Yeah, no opportunity really up here. I'm just sold off, leaving an inducement high at the extreme, leaving some inducement highs here, aka equal highs as well. And now what do we expect? Well, since we took out this high here, now this will be a trap. Any reactions out of this area will be false, okay? And essentially just inducing buyers to build more liquidity below here, below the lows, okay? So let's fast forward a bit to New York Open. Okay, you can see here, took the lows, inducing sellers, and then trap the sellers at the high. Oops. Trap the sellers at the high. Right at New York Open as well, right at 8 a.m. Took them out and then sold off, clearing the liquidity at the lows here. Okay, so now we have an inducement high given to us here. What does this now tell me? If we see the market return to this area, ideally we'd probably want to see a buildup occur here, okay, for early sellers to get in, right, whatever it may be, however we may build up the liquidity here, and then maybe take them out. And what do we have at the extreme here? Nice liquidity block left for us. Okay, so continue here. And just like we spoke about, look how the market's just sitting in this area, inducing sellers. And I just skipped through like an idiot because I forgot New York Stock Exchange Open is volatile. Okay, so now look at this on the 1 minute here. Look how price is just squeezing, right? Inducing sellers in this leg here from high to low, okay? I want to be looking for an entry off this, right? Again, we have further targets to the downside. Let's hop on the 5 just so we can see where we're looking here, okay? And eventually maybe here, right? But for more of an intraday target, this is a low that we want to be looking at, all right? And again, what do we have at the extreme? Nice liquidity block area right here, all right? And I don't know, maybe we can refine it a bit. It's this imbalance up here. And that's where we'd want to be taking entries, right? So when price right at 9:30, which is stock open, look how we get this false bearish move. Look at this big 1 minute candle, probably telling retailers we're going bearish now, right? But they fail to understand. Look how we're just taking out lows. Now we can expect sellers to get trapped at the high, And then what do we have right above the high? Our liquidity block area to the left. Now, how can we enter this? Well, we can be entering it straight from the left, or for people that like to wait for confirmation entries, we can wait for price to come back to the highs, okay? And then you'd want to wait for like a pattern we usually look for, right? So maybe something like this, and then inducement high gets taken, maybe a pullback, and then we go. So that's what would be for confirmation. I'm not looking for a confirmation entry in this example here just because of how clean this delivery is, right? Inducement high left, sell off, price builds liquidity here at the inducement high, inducing sellers. Look how we even trap sellers here on M1, right? Inducing them here. Now we can expect this high to get taken. And boom, we take that high, we get tagged in, goes even higher, comes to the extreme, no problem. And look how actually we kind of leave equals here, which is something that you can keep an eye on now for the future. And then we move away. Well, actually, first we get false reactions here, inducing buyers, even more liquidity at the lows now, right? Okay, and as for targets, why are we targeting this low? Well, since we've taken this inducement high, retailers see this as a BOS and buys at the low. So that tells me that we're going to have, get rid of this box, we're going to have buyer liquidity at the lows. Okay, and we're going to be targeting that, no problem. And boom, done. Okay, so buyers now liquidated, taken out of their positions, they get trapped, which tells me maybe a pullback will occur now. So I'm not interested in buying because then we're just going to be going against our higher time frame buys, but we can possibly see a pullback now. We'll go into the 5-minute. There we go. And also remember, we did take these lows here in the current price action, but we still haven't fulfilled that higher time frame target yet. So we'll see what else happens. Okay, so kind of trading below the lows now. You can see now we've taken out liquidity in this current PA over here. Go long, okay. Taking out a high here. Comes back to the extreme, respects it because we have no liquidity yet there. Right, runs that little minor inducement low. Respects it, runs away. Okay, so now liquidity block, this whole area here, we've taken that liquidity there, right? So this can now get essentially respected because we have no liquidity here right now. But then when we do respect it, now we'll have liquidity, right? So how can we get involved in this? Well, right away I see we take a low, all right? We are not going to be selling this here. No point, because now we're trading with retail. We wait for the highs to get taken. Highs get taken. And nice little M1 liquidity block here. Now, I don't always use M1 liquidity blocks. I usually use M5. But if you wanted to use this M1, what I usually do is just open up the stop a little bit more, just in case we come spike again a little higher. And then where are we targeting? Well, now, if you think about it, look how many buyers are in the market here, right? So at first we ran that low, which tells me buyers are now trapped. That's why price went long here. Okay, and then we come down, respect the lows here. So now we're starting to build liquidity at the lows. And look what happens again. We take this high and we respect the lows again. So now think about how many buyers are getting in here. Now look how sellers get trapped when we take this high out here. Who's buying here? More buyers. So that tells me shit ton of liquidity is now below the lows. Okay. Price comes back up, takes out some inducement highs. Look how we come back and mitigate this M1 liquidity block / imbalance. And there it is. Target met. Okay, so two short entries available, both clean. It was a more of an obvious trade, I feel, especially because the higher time frame was just super bearish, and we're just continuing to target lows to the left-hand side over here, right? So, yeah, this were the two trades on US 30. Hope you guys enjoyed this study, and I will see you guys in the next one.